Welcome to World Missions University's Major Prophets Bible 2:11. This lesson is an introduction called God's Prophetic Messengers. By the time you finish with this class, you will describe the significant factors related to the office, Hebrew names, roles, and the land of the prophets. Considering the office of the prophets were a gift from God. Amos 2:11 says, I also raised up prophets from among your sons and Nazarites from among your young men. Is this not true, people of Israel? Declares the Lord. The office of the prophet began with Moses. Jeremiah 7:25 says, From the time your forefathers left Egypt until now, day after day, again and again, I sent you my servants, the prophets. Moses predicted the prophetic institution or the prophetic office. Deuteronomy 18:14 through 19. The nations you will dispossess, listen to those who practice sorcery or divination. But as for you, the Lord your God has not permitted you to do so. The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among your own brothers. You must listen to him, for this is what you asked of the Lord your God at Horeb on the day of the assembly when you said, Let us not hear the voice of the Lord our God, nor see this great fire any more, or we will die. Then the Lord said to me, What they say is good. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their brothers. I will put my words in his mouth, and he will tell them everything I command him. If anyone does not listen to my words that the prophet speaks in my name, I myself will call him to account. Moses instructed that Israel was not to involve themselves in the Canaanite practices of witchcraft, spells, omens, or spiritism, but rather their information and guidance was to come from the prophet. There are two Hebrew words that are commonly translated as prophet. The first one is Nabi. Aaron was Moses' prophet in Exodus 7:1 through 2. Then the Lord said to Moses, See, I have made you like a god to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet, Nabi. You are to say everything I command you, and your brother Aaron is to tell Pharaoh to let the Israelites go out of his country. This word also appears in Jeremiah 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet, Nabi, to the nations. Another word that occurs in Hebrew is often translated as seer, a ro'eh, or hoseh. A seer receives information by seeing rather than hearing words from the Lord. The seeing could be in dreams, visions, or supernatural illumination. There is no difference in function. Both of them will relate the message that they receive from the Lord. A prophet is often called a man of God. This is a holy calling and requires strong moral character on the person of the prophet. A prophet must be a man of God, but not all men of God are prophets. Prophets are often also spoken of as servants of the Lord. Daniel confesses in Daniel 9:6, "We have not listened to your servants the prophets, who spoke in your name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land." Ezekiel speaks in Ezekiel 38:17, "This is what the sovereign Lord says, Are you not the one I spoke of in former days by my servants the prophets of Israel? At that time they prophesied for years that I would bring you against them." 2 Kings 9:7, "You are to destroy the house of Ahab your master, and I will avenge the blood of my servants the prophets, and the blood of all the Lord's servants shed by Jezebel." Then in 2 Kings 17:13, "The Lord warned Israel and Judah through all his prophets and seers, Turn from your evil ways, observe my commands and decrees in accordance with the entire law that I commanded your fathers to obey, and that I delivered to you through my servants the prophets." The prophets served a unique role in God's interaction with his people Israel. The priest was ordained to represent the people to God, presenting their worship and sacrifices. The prophet, however, was ordained to represent God to the people through messages and instructions. Their messages and instructions followed certain patterns. First, they were preachers of already revealed law. They never established law. That was done by Moses. Malachi 4:4. "Remember the law of my servant Moses, the decrees and laws I gave him at Horeb for all Israel." Daniel prays in chapter 9, "We have sinned and done wrong. We have been wicked and have rebelled. We have turned away from your commands and laws." The Lord speaks in Jeremiah 11, "Cursed is the man who does not obey the terms of this covenant, the terms I commanded your forefathers when I brought them out of Egypt." Secondly, they were predictors of coming persons, events, judgments, or blessings. Finally, they were watchmen over leaders and the people of Israel, warning them to obey the law and of judgment if they refused. This was their primary function. Their strategy worked best when prophets functioned through or near the king. Affect the king and you affect the people. Elijah was the prophet to King Ahab, Isaiah and King Hezekiah, Haggai and Zerubbabel, Jeremiah and Zedekiah. One important scripture describes the proof of a prophet. Deuteronomy 18:20 through 22. "But a prophet who presumes to speak in my name anything I have not commanded him to say, or a prophet who speaks in the name of other gods, must be put to death." You may say to yourselves, how can we know when a message has not been spoken by the Lord? If what a prophet proclaims in the name of the Lord does not take place or come true, that is the message the Lord has not spoken. That prophet has spoken presumptuously. Do not be afraid of him. If a prophet was a false prophet, they were treated as such and ignored, or worse, executed. Since the land was a significant part of God's covenant, its condition was a direct indicator of God's pleasure or displeasure with Israel. If the people were obedient to the word of the prophet, or the judge, or the king for that matter, the land was fruitful, trade was good, and the rain came in the right season for the right amount. If the people were disobedient to the word of the prophet, the land was barren. Their neighbors were belligerent. There was drought, famine, and plague.